Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to do a resin pour, which I wanted to try for a very long time, but I also really dread it. So I mixed up a lot of clear resin and I got out only my glitters. I'm not going to use any pigments for these pours, I'm just going to use glitter. I chose 3 molds in total. There's only 2 on here right now, so I have space to mix things. And the first thing I did was get a lot of my gold glitters out, and then I went with black glitter. And yes, the tiny things you get from Sophie and Toffee as like glitter boxes, I completely used up some of them. Which I know I'm not gonna use them for anything else besides this. And then I have like a huge box of technically diamond art painting containers that I really like to use for glitters because it just keeps them contained and you can pick them up easily and open them up easily and have a nice portioning. And I basically just also chose a purple, and then I went with a 2-colored blue and like turquoisey, teal and green kind of mix. And my first one I chose to go alternating between the black, purple and the like blue-green mix. And I'm just doing like random tiny amounts with random orders of the colors. And I really hope that it may turn out like the pours that I did where I did this with pigments. But we shall see. I don't know how the glitters behave, and there's a lot of glitter with different sizes in there, so it might be behaving completely different. For the like crown tray, I'm going with gold, black and blue, and then for the last one I mixed up this white that I'm going to add with the purple and blue, and I'm just swirling them around randomly. And that's basically it with what I'm going to pour with these. Also, the resin I'm using is Sophie and Toffee's 1-to-1 resin, and actually while I was working with it, this pour did take a while longer, so it was actually starting to heat up a little bit during the pour already. So I'm not surprised that the back of it has a little bit more air bubbles, but honestly it's not that noticeable with the glitter. And it seems like the glitter definitely stays a bit more in place and doesn't get moved around as much as pigment does when you pour it on top, because you can see a very small ring of the white and just a little corner of the blue here. As for the next one, that one really like fought me back for some reason, even though it's normally an easy mold to demold, but it just didn't want to come out and slip back in the entire time. And again, the gold definitely stayed on the bottom, but you can kind of see a gradient of the black that I poured in there, which actually looks quite nice. And you know, the sides and the back actually have a lot more color. But I really love the effect of the different sparkles. It is a bit more chaotic, even my camera sometimes has a hard time focusing, but I think it also looks really nice and fancy with all the sparkles. And then the last one was this purple, blue and black one, and I had to take a closer look because it looked like the purple bled out, which I think it did. It has like the typical thing that some pinks and purples do, where they turn like orangey from like the colors. I don't know why it didn't really happen with the coaster, but with the like higher mold, the walls are thin, so there's no like heat containment, but it definitely has more of a really weird orange sheen to it that this one definitely doesn't have. But yeah, that is basically it. Honestly, I'm quite surprised on how good they look. Like, I thought this glitter might sink a little bit, which is why I chose a more viscous type resin. Which definitely paid out. There was practically no sinkage in this, and I used a lot of glitter. I think it could also look good if you just had one type of glitter, or like a color shift glitter or something that isn't as busy. But I think these also look really nice and sparkly. And I purposefully chose not to make the lid of this container because of the overhangs the mold has, and I wasn't really sure how to force the like larger pieces of glitter in there, which is why I avoided it. But I think overall it's not really necessary to use this container with a lid, or I can just make a lid that is not as busy with like maybe one type of glitter or none at all. Or just a clear one, which I think would look really interesting with this kind of like glitter effect shining through it. But yeah, this was kind of a quick and short type of experiment, although the pour definitely took like quite a while. Just to really see what would happen. I did dabble with the like only using glitter thing beforehand in my Christmas video with the snowman candle holder that I made. But in that one I used really fine glitter, which basically can be compared more to pigment in a way. And I used, I think, a different resin, and this one was just pure chuck as much glitter in. I probably could have chucked more glitter in than I have, but chuck as much glitter in that it will just be pure glitter. And honestly, it kind of looks like I mixed in black in there. The glitter particles are so like suspended in there that there's practically no gap at all where like if you hold it in the light you can see through, so it really looks like I mixed like a opaque color in there too, which I think is super cool and fascinating. And ultimately what I learned out of it is that glitter doesn't move as much in curing resin at all. So to get like different color effects, one might actually want to do like tiny amounts of the resin. I did fairly large circles that covered the entire surface, which is why the other colors didn't peek through. But I think if you would do like tinier pours and like purposefully pour to like form the circles where you want them to, like color-wise, or like splotches color-wise where you want them to, I think they would probably actually stay mostly in the area where you poured them in, and that's probably how you would get like different interesting color effects with this type of resin pour. So I'm definitely gonna say this experiment was worth it, and I'm actually quite surprised how little air bubbles there are on the outside of the molds. Like, none of the corners actually have like missing pieces. There's just some tiny surface air bubbles, especially around the container mold, but I think that's because it's like slightly faceted where like the air bubbles could get caught in the glitter and couldn't really rise up. But these pours were surprisingly clean. Except for, of course, finding glitter literally everywhere. But that's just, you know, something every person that ever worked with glitter will experience. And yeah, I definitely, even while molding, got a lot of loose glitter on my hands, so I had to wipe it down with a wet towel and then just throw that in the trash so it wouldn't go down the sink. Over the molds, luckily, are clean now because the resin picked up all the glitter from the inside, but yeah, it definitely is a thing to be aware of when you work with glitter, like always. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this a bit shorter video today, and let me know in the comments down below what you thought of these projects. Would actually just using pure glitter be something you would be interested in? Or would you like mix it with a colored resin? Or is glitter maybe something you avoid at all costs because of the mess it makes? Or because you don't like the look of it? Let me know. I'm really quite curious what people think about this kind of pours. Anyways, I hope you have a lovely day. See you next time. Bye bye!